Colorado, 6 hours ago, legal expert Colorado militia group UADF is likely illegal. Militia, I thought the Second Amendment protects your right to. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's see what's going on. UADF, United Dairy Farmers, United American Dairy Farmers, the United American Defense Force. Controversial Colorado group may be illegal militia. This is by Michael Lund. Prohibited by provisions in both Colorado statute and the U.S. Constitution, according to a national legal expert. UADF recruits members with promises of tactical training in urban warfare, discounts on weapons and ammunition, insurance protection, and legal representation in use of force cases. Its leader, John Tiegan. Those are all, that all sounds okay, right? Discounts on training in urban warfare, insurance protection, legal. Okay, so its leader, John Tiegan. Yo, John Tig. Yo, Tiegan. TT. A former Marine, security contractor, part of the team. Defending the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi, Libya, when it was overrun in 2012, included UADF's urban warfare training in his pitch to join the group delivered to Colorado Republican candidates and supporters at an October 2020 political event. Earlier that summer, Tiegan explained his reason for founding UADF on a right-wing podcast, telling the host that he created the organization to oppose communists and Antifa when the police, military, and other militias won't act. He cited the protesters in Seattle who created the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, CHAZ, C-H-A-Z, during the 2020 George Floyd protest. Look at the nation of CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, protesters in Seattle. That was a direct attack on us, and we didn't do anything. Literally, the police got pulled out, told to stay away. National Guard didn't get involved. You've got people trying to set up a freaking nation inside of a major city inside the United States, and not a goddamn thing happened. Nothing, and none of these 3% militias freaking stood up and actually went and did anything. Nobody did a damn thing about it, and I'm going to, and that's why I'm standing up. United American Defense Forces, I'm going to do something. So he cited the protesters. So the CHAZ group, right? He's talking about CHAZ. He created the organization to oppose communists and Antifa when the police, military, and other militias won't act. I don't know. Are they conflating? Am I conflating the two? Because to hate a communist, fuck off. Fuck off. You hate somebody because of their economic fucking views? You hate somebody because they're Antifa? That means you're a fucking fascist. That means this Tiegan's a fucking Nazi. Right? Okay, now it's all starting. The United American Defense Force, he's in favor of fascism. You're against anti-fascist? That's because you're a fascist piece of shit. Jesus fucking Christ. One good thing about Donald Trump is you got to see exactly who these motherfuckers are. You got to see exactly who these motherfuckers are. Article 2, Section 22 of Colorado's Constitution forbids private military units from operating outside state authority because it says that the military should always be in strict subordination to the civil power. Right. The military shall always be in strict subordination to the civil power. The civil power being the government, the governor, the commissioners. The subordination clause is supported in the U.S. Constitution. Even if there's no statute in Colorado that says private militias are unlawful or it's a crime to be a private militia, McCord reiterated the lack of a statute that says those words doesn't mean it's okay because it's prohibited by the Constitution. Sad to say that any group that, walks like a militia, talks like a militia, quacks like a militia, is really, a duck, a military unit that needs to report to the goddamn governor, Mary McCord said. What she said made sense. But her second quote, I guess the first quote, didn't make sense. There's other points to be made here. I think that it seems like the Office of the Attorney General is taking a very, very literal view of your question, right? Armed militia is illegal. We don't use the term militia in Colorado statutes, therefore, there's not a regulation of militia. But what he didn't do is address the question of, well, are private armed coordinated groups that engage in paramilitary activity lawful in Colorado? And I think the answer is pretty clearly no. It was never the case that a militia could just call themselves forth, and particularly not in opposition to the actual government. So the segment of the U.S. Constitution embodies these principles by giving Congress the authority under the militia clauses to provide for the organizing of militias, and they just can't just boom, we're going to do our own muster and we're going to go out and do our own military training and all that kind of stuff, and particularly engaging with the public, whether it's trying to direct the public in a way that's clearly usurped law enforcement functions, or whether it's actually using their force ostensibly against the government, like we've seen some of these armed assaults on the state houses and things like that, and even on the U.S. Capitol. Any essentially defense force is about to be subject to civilian authority. UADF, in its 2-year existence, has organized a muster to counter a Black Lives Matter event and encourage members to attend public comment sessions of school board meetings where an insignificant, possibly armed UADF has Lee Keltner was killed by an unlicensed private security guard following the muster. A muster is commonly defined as an assembly of troops prior to battle. UADF. Tiegan has also organized counter demonstrations. I see a war coming, Tiegan said, if we don't stand together. Trust me, you don't want to see it. A lot of veterans. A lot of veterans! I've seen it. There are some veterans that pray for it here in the U.S., which is stupid while appearing to oppose violent insurrection. Tiegan has a history of posting images of group members training and posing with firearms. At least some of his social media accounts have been suspended. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe not, right? UADF, the United American Defense Force. If they're just against anti-fascist, well, that's no good. We need more anti-fascists. In fact, it's you're just a fucking fascist Nazi piece of shit. If you're just a fascist Nazi piece of shit, so you understand authoritarianism, you understand there's a fucking totem pole, there's a pecking order, and so you understand hierarchy. Well, do you understand anything else? Like literally any fucking thing else. It's also ironic that in our political discourse, we're going to talk about how fascism is wonderful and fantastic, right? The Republicans, it's all the Jan Führer. The Jan Führer is all about fascism, and yet you have this anti-bullying movement at the same time. So which is it? Which is it? Is it to be the fucking bully or to not to be the bully? It's not to be or not to be, but it's to be or not to be the bully. That is the question.